All right. Thank you for sharing. If you are at home listening in, then think of, some of the big wins, and they can be in many kind of metrics. I usually like to start off with energy. So, like over the past, 5, 6 weeks, how has your energy changed, from when you started the challenge to now? And then check in on your performance and performance and also therefore recovery levels, So, are you more sore now than you were 6 weeks ago? Are you less? Are you still motivated to train? Are you progressing in your workouts, or do you feel like you've been going and that we actually need to kind of scale it back because we've hit a wall? Has your stamina improved? Those kinds of things. And then your mood, has your mood kind of changed over the past 5, 6 weeks? And your hunger cues, that's a big one. I know everyone's in a different journey. So some people have been exploring calorie deficit, some people have been exploring maintenance, some people have been exploring gains. So, just think to yourself, okay, right now, based off of how I've been eating over the past 6 weeks, am I hungry? Am I nourished? Am I feeling full? And just kind of take note of that. Take note of your sleep. At the end of the day, are you wired but tired? I always used to say that, like that I was very tired, but as soon as my head hit the pillow, it's like everything woke up inside. And or are you ready to hit the hay? So just kind of take those notes of comparisons of, either 6 weeks ago or even longer if you've been on this journey for quite some time. And then of course, there's always looks. Maybe you took some photos of yourself, maybe you're just noticing how you feel in clothes. And these are all really the metrics that we talk about, the results off the scale. Energy, performance, mood, hunger, sleep, and how we feel and present ourselves in the world. Those are things that we can't always reflect on a scale. So just really taking the moment to acknowledge the wins and the comparisons across all of these kind of metrics is really important. Pete wrote this as kind of like, during the challenge, we try to throw everything at you. It's like spaghetti at the wall. We're just trying to see what sticks, and it's going to be different and individual for each person. But really, the key takeaways, like the key 6 things that the people who have the most success, either on the scale or in those that we found, do these 6 things. So they eat mostly whole foods. We choose real food first. This doesn't mean that every bite of food is locally sourced and organic or free range or whatever. It just means that you are making better choices and that you're trying to choose real food first. And then, adding on to where the minimally processed foods come in from time to time. The second thing is just adding awareness, right? So for the past 6 weeks, maybe you've been tracking, maybe you've been using an app to track, maybe you've just been writing it down. And the goal is not to, make you a slave to the phone or to that. It's just to develop awareness around the fuel that we need and what we need in order to survive, thrive, or achieve some body composition goals. So the second key takeaway is just really eating mindfully, taking your time, not rushing, like actually chewing your food as opposed to always just having liquid meals on the go, and really savoring and enjoying each bite, because sometimes food is fuel and sometimes food is pleasure. And if we can enjoy it, then usually we end up needing less to enjoy it.
And
Um,
never uttering the words ever again, "I didn't know it was bad for me."
Especially now that if you've had that digital course, if you've gone through the journal, and it's not to say that there isn't a place, but knowledge is power, and knowing, how each food, what that chemically does in your body, a really powerful tool. Third, drinking water, half your body weight in ounces. And that is, a lot of times you are not hungry but thirsty. You are not tired but dehydrated and feeling drained. And so a lot of people, their key takeaway was just consuming more water and noticing that, oh, wow, I ate less sugar because of that, or I felt better in my workouts because of it. Number 4, what we're all about, right? So train, move, or play often. So just find the opportunity to move and crawl and hike and bike and swim, to get outside, to balance mechanics, strength, and conditioning. That the real key is the balance of all of it and trying to make room for, strong bodies, mobile bodies, and being able to run from somebody chasing you. Number 5 was sleeping a minimum of 7 hours a night. A lot of times that is just the lowest hanging fruit. We start off chatting with someone and maybe they average, 4 or 5 hours of sleep at the beginning, and just 15-minute increment at a time. We try to work on their nighttime routine, to maximize, how we can cut off screen time, how we can get a few more hours, or a few more minutes even. And then by the end of it, people are like, oh, wow, I actually am sleeping. I never thought that I could get at least 7 hours of sleep or more. Sometimes people need more. All right. And then the 6th one, is managing stress. I always say stress makes you fatter than anything else. It literally is the stress. It's the, it is the stress hormone cortisol. So if we can make room and find time to put deposits back in the bank of our body, and, meditate and do ice bath and sauna and read and walk and commune with others and do something that feels nourishing to both your mind, body, and soul. These are really the 6 things, and I know it's easy to say and it's easy to do. So therefore it is easy not to do. But that really is kind of the quote unquote formula, is knowing what real food is, eating mindfully, so that it supports your goals, drinking water, moving often, recovering well, and managing all of the zoomies. Any questions or other kind of key takeaways that anyone just thought of or wants to share as we're on this?
There's 3 other kind of like more general concepts that I think are important. One is accountability, the other is courage, and the other one is freedom. And when I say freedom, I don't mean, anything more than just having the freedom to choose things, but knowing what the consequences are of that choice. Because no one can live a completely strict, when none of us are angels, nothing's ever going to be perfect. But it's just the accountability when you have the freedom to make choice of like, I'm going to do this, but I understand what the consequences are of doing this. And then being big enough to just be like, and then I'm going to counteract it by doing this. I always say to everybody, like, the problem most of the time with diet and exercise is like, you have one bad thing and that leads to 20 bad things, or you miss one workout and that leads to you missing the whole week because you end up pushing the fuck it button. What we must stop doing is pushing the fuck it button. It's like, you do something you want to do because you have the freedom to make that choice, you enjoy it for what it is, and then you move on and make the next step, whether that's food or exercise. So I think that's an important thing to kind of get into our heads, and to just be really really be accountable for the things that we do and the choices that we make, and understand what the consequences and repercussions of that thing are. Like, if I go out and I go to In-N-Out and I have a burger and fries and a shake, whatever it is, and I enjoy that meal and it is what it is, and I take it for what it is, that's fine. Again, we don't have to flog ourselves when we go home because we did that. We just have to understand what it is and what it means. That then has to be countered with good behavior on the back end of it. And then courage is, again, having the courage to do things and to try things. And I think one of the reasons why we do all these challenges, the physical challenges within the challenge, is to build up that courage, and just to say it doesn't matter like how old we are, or what complications we may have, or what limitations we have. There's always new things we can figure out and try that give us a newfound courage, a newfound kind of sense of self, a new direction maybe. And it's not like we all want to be different people and we want to like shed our old skin and be something completely different. But I think a lot of us do want to like continually make improvements, and find areas of ourselves that we can improve in, highlight new parts of ourselves that maybe we have gone unnoticed for a while, that we'd kind of forgotten about, or maybe we're just reigniting an old flame inside ourselves. But I think as we get older, it's really easy to forget and to give up, and to not constantly think about new and interesting things to challenge ourselves with. And hopefully during this challenge, you found 1 or 2 things that just sparked something in you, gave you a stronger sense of self, reminded you of some kind of courage that's inside of you, and just gave you something fun and something interesting and something that you want to continue as you go forward. So I would take with you again those three concepts of courage, accountability, and freedom. Because like I said, I've known many people that live a very, very, very strict life, that are impeccable shape, and everything is down to a T, and everything is very controlled. And that also isn't a place of complete like happiness and joy. That's a very restrictive, very restrained life. And I know most of us, it works for some of us, but most of us are not in that category. Most of us live a normal life. We have commitments, we have families, we have all kinds of things we have to do. So it's important not to, again, try and be perfect and try and do everything perfectly, but just to have that kind of awareness of our choice, of our accountability, and to keep doing things courageously and keep moving forward.
So we count the wins and then basically we repeat the process, right? We take inventory and we see where we are and we see, okay, if this was not a 6-week challenge, but a 12-week challenge, let's say that we're halfway and we just hit the halfway mark of a 12-week journey. And this is not the end of something, but just a, you know, touching base and seeing where we're at. Then, where are you? What do you need to focus on now? So there's many things that you crush, many habits that you nailed, many things that have gone well, some results that you've seen. And then now, if this is like the next 6-week block, what do you think you need to focus more on? So where is the weakness or the, kink in the armor, or whatever, the those, like, where do you now notice, okay, this has gone really well over the last 6 weeks, but this still needs a little bit of fine tuning, a little bit of awareness. So what would you say is one or two things that you need to kind of direct your attention and focus and energies on now, if this was another 6-week challenge, that now you have another opportunity to take inventory, maximize your habits, values, and strategies, and get the most out of your day? Thank you, John. Need to take more repair classes. Will I see you tomorrow up in Idlewild? Great. It was popping today in Palm Springs. I think there was like 17 people. I put people in the massage room. I literally was just like packed like sardines. It was great.
And I think that when you ask yourself questions like this, the overriding question in your mind should be, what is going to make me healthier and happier? Because those are the things that really matter. Like, again, I've known a lot of people over the years. They were like, "Oh, if I can just get to the semifinals of the CrossFit Games qualifier, it's going to make me happy." I'm like, it's not. Like, those aren't the things that actually make you happy, because it doesn't fulfill what you're trying to. It doesn't fill that bucket that you're trying to fill. So when you think about what your next steps are, it should be, okay, what is going to make me healthier and happier? Because those are the overriding, pillars that we're always kind of searching for.